Hello and welcome to AWS Certified Solution Architect course. In this video, we will discuss about auto scaling. So, what is auto scaling? In on-premise infrastructure, when we have some increase in load, like suppose you're hosting a web server and suddenly the load has been increased on the web servers. So what do we do? Like we have to build a new server, we procure a new server. If it's hardware, it will take a week or 10 days to build that server. If it's a virtual, we have to deploy it through some template in VMware or Hyper-V, so it's a bit fast than that. However, in on-premise infrastructure, whether it's a physical or virtual VMware Hyper-V, a manual intervention is always required. So AWS has worked on this and they have created something called auto scaling groups that will respond to the behavior of the traffic or the health of servers, and it will scale up or scale down depending on the demand of from the traffic from the users. So it's a very good feature. I would say it's the best feature that AWS has provided, that the servers will be spinned up within a fraction of seconds if something goes on with the current fleet of instances, and it will scale down if usage of the servers is reduced to certain point. So it's awesome feature to have. Now let's look on it. So before configuring auto scaling, we have to configure launch configuration. The launch configuration will define what kind of instances will be used to in auto scaling group to launch instances. So it's basically the underlying thing of auto scaling, and auto scaling is the top layer and this launch configuration is the bottom layer. So now let's click on, it's telling to create auto scaling group. However, it will, we have to first configure the launch configuration. So as you can see here, the first step is create launch configuration. So I'll just go to create launch configuration. Once it is done, it will prompt us to create auto scaling group. So in launch configuration, we have to select the AMI which will be used. So I will select 2012 R2. Next, I will configure details. Name of the launch config is test launch config test LC. We are not going to use spot instances, so I will not check that. We can add some role as well to the launch config so that whatever the instances that will be launched using auto scaling, they will be embedded with this particular role, this S3 roles. Now monitoring, since basic monitoring is already enabled, we will not enable detailed monitoring. Apart from that, you can configure some advanced details like kernel ID, RAM disk ID, user data, or any IP address type. Here you can, if it's a web server, you can include some bootstrap scripts. So I will just do that, and so that it will install the web server role on the server while launching. Now the next part is add storage. So we will go with the default storage. Security group, it's allowing RDP. I don't think anything else is required. We just need to RDP that server. Yeah, for since it's a web server, we can have HTTP as well from anywhere. The group name will be auto scaling security group 1. Now let's review it, and the AMI is looking good, instance type is good, all of the details are looking good. Now let's just create this launch configuration. I will use the same old test key pair for creating this launch configuration. So once this launch configuration is configured, we will move ahead to auto scaling group. This concludes the launch configuration part. In next video, we will create the auto scaling group and we will take this auto scaling part forward in next video.